For today's video, I'll be finishing an old model from the beginning of the year. For color selection, I simply chose a pair of greys alongside an off-white. I'll begin with the darker one, which will be applied along the edge, leaving some black over the would-be shadow area. And it is important to reach full saturation on this base coat for the coming steps to work. So following the explanation from my paint dilution tutorial, I'll apply 2 coats to make sure the color reaches its full value. To blend both colors, I'll begin by doing some stippling where they meet. Remember to unload excess paint from your brush, or getting tinier dots will be harder. Preferably, we're looking for a higher density of dots towards the lighter tone. Next, I'll dilute the grey to a glaze consistency. As always, removing excess paint from the brush is key to maintain control. Still, wherever we lift the brush will be the place where most paint will deposit, and when glazing this will usually result in a dot of paint, which can lead to a coffee stain mark. By finishing the brushstroke over the base coat which has a chip full opacity, this can easily be avoided. But better yet, if I finish it over the stippled area, it will help blend the huge jump from one color to the other even more. Previously, blending the place where 2 colors meet would always take me some work, but after learning the stippling trick from Jose da Vinci, even huge jumps in color can be tackled in a matter of minutes. From here on, it's just a matter of rinse and repeat. I did 1 layer for each of the 3 colors, as well as a pair of 50-50 mixed layers when moving into the light grey and the off-white. Oftentimes, when we think of glazes, we may imagine that around 10 layers are required to achieve a smooth blend. For this axe, I applied just 2. Though one could thin the glaze even more and apply more of them for a better finish, as well as instead of doing 5 layers of colors like I did, make more in between mixes. It is all up to how much time you want to spend. What you see me do with the 5 layers and 2 coats of glaze I believe to be the bare minimum to get a good result, which even a beginner can achieve in around 10 minutes, and still be proud of the result. So, let's quickly recap what the process looks like. Having our 2 completely opaque colors applied, color number 2 is used to stipple into color number 1 where they meet, preferably reducing the density of the stippling as we move further into color number 1. Then a glaze of color number 2 is applied, beginning the brushstroke on color number 1 and finishing at the stippled area. When it comes to painting non-metallic metal, there are a bunch more things to have in mind, such as the shape of the surface or counter reflections. There is also the color or tones which can make the surface read as different metals. But before getting into more advanced painting, I'd rather begin with something both beginners and intermediate painters can put to practice, and from there on moving to the next steps if this video results helpful. For the other side, I switched it out a bit and instead applied a pair more layers, which when looked at from afar already looks quite convincing. But still, adding more water to the mixes on my wet palette, I can go 1 color at a time, improving each layer. And don't be afraid of going back to the initial darker grey, and applying a glaze the other way around, to deposit the pigments over on the shadows. This is a great way of unifying all the layers together, as well as doing it the other way around with a lighter color. Once I was done, I carefully cleaned out the edge. And for the highlights, as I often do, abuse the side of your brush to do the work for you, placing the brush in such a manner where there is no feasible way for the paint to get somewhere that's not on the edges. Thank you for watching. I hope you found the video helpful. Feel free to leave any questions you may have in the comments and I'll get to them shortly. I am trying to reach 10k subs by the end of the year, so if you're not subscribed, I would really appreciate if you did. And as always, special thanks to the patrons who provide the extra support each month.